Hello, YouTube. Hello, Spotify. We are back with another episode, 2-in-1 Golf, episode 58. Everyone's here. Madison, Mike, myself. We just spent 5 or 6 minutes talking about Charlie Woods, and I guess we're going to start this episode with Charlie Woods because he went out and played in a pre-qualifier for the qualifier, which is crazy to say, for the
The
Cognizant
Cognizant Classic.
Classic, which is real quick. It's tough to follow up the Honda because I feel like the Honda will always be the Honda. But yeah, we're talking about Charlie, and if you're an amateur and you're trying to pre-qualify for a qualifier, you have to be a 2 index. And the current discussion is, can a 2 index or a player participating in a pre-qualifier, can they shoot in 86? Obviously, yes, they can because it just happened. But should Charlie be playing in these type of events? And then he threw up an 86.
Should he be
How we doing, boys?
should he be playing in these should
Pre-
he be playing in these types of events? Eh, maybe try to play some AJGA. Just just saying.
yeah, he's in a tough spot because I think if he goes and plays AJGA, he's going to get smoked, and then people, see that he's not ready because those scores are public. But obviously, then he plays in this.
This
Those
was
scores
pretty
are
public
public.
too. This was probably
So
more
I want
this
to,
was probably more public than an AJGA tournament.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's partially the PGA Tour's fault because they had PGA Tour cameras out there recording Charlie Woods. He was the first person on property, warming up, hitting balls. They treated him as if he was his father. You see the walk from the car to the range, you see the strut, the swagger. There's a lot of buildup heading into it, almost as big as, Anthony Kim's return to live golf.
Yeah, I don't think the PGA Tour really thought that one through. They were even live blogging his round, and then all of a sudden the live blog just vanished. Just absolutely
Yeah.
disappeared. And you got to wonder, were they really thinking this one through? Did they really not consider the very real possibility that this might not end well for Charlie?
I think that's what you really have to look at is I mean, you can look at some of his past scores, I mean, his past rounds and really kind of get an idea. And looking at a pre-qualifier, I think, Mike, you were saying to even get through to the actual qualifier, you got to shoot at least 6 or 7 under. Like you got to take it deep. And it's
Mhm.
only for 2 spots, right, at these pre-qualifiers. So, I mean, I would have to think and have to assume that they didn't think it would be that likely. Obviously, it would be a great story if it happened and they wanted to be there for it, but come on.
Yeah.
I'm raising my hand. So I have the leaderboard here. Thank you to Blue Golf, not a sponsor, but 5 spots. It was top three in
Mhm.
ties, it looks like. So the winner shot 5 under. Congratulations to Billy Basham. Good luck in the Monday qualifier, which
Yesterday.
happened
Yeah.
yesterday. Yeah, so it looks like 3 under or better got you in to the Monday qualifier. Charlie finished 110th out of, doing the classic Madison, scrolling to the bottom. Oh no.
Let's hear it. Ooh.
112.
Hey, he beat two
112.
people.
Well, he tied
Okay.
one, beat
That's
one.
not nothing. It's close to nothing, but it's not nothing.
Jake Moberly.
Mhm.
Moberly. What were we doing out there, Chief? Come on now. But yeah, made a 12. Charlie made a 12 on what hole was that? Anyone know?
Thought it
Let's see
was
here.
8, right?
7. Made it on 7.
Yeah.
So my whole thing is when you go to play in a pre-qualifier, it's tough. Obviously, only the top 5 spots go out of, or top 3 out of 112. Your game needs to be sharp, and Charlie hasn't shown us. I don't want to be disrespectful, but he really hasn't shown us anything in tournament play. We've seen him in the PNC playing a scramble. We've seen him at notable gay events, but no one's really talking about the score all too much. Like he's not winning a lot of the events he's playing in. Through the first 5 holes, he was 4 over.
I mean, he obviously did not get off to a very hot start. One of the things we were talking about before we hit the record button was Charlie's handicap. And according to the USGA, I don't know if you can
No.
read this, doesn't look like it. He's a +3. They
Wow.
say he's a
Yeah,
plus three. Now,
I I can believe that. That is
that
your
is your
potential. That's not what he that's not what he shoots on average.
that's
That's his best 8
out of his
rounds, out
last
of his last 20
20.
rounds,
Now,
and that is his
looking at
potential.
looking at his scores, he does have an 80 in there. That's his worst score in his last 20 is an 80. So not the best, but he's also got some scores in the 60s there. So the question is, can a +3 shoot an 86? Ugh. That's a little bit different from a 2, like we were talking about before. But it's still doable. I mean,
Yeah,
you've seen guys absolutely throw up all over themselves in competition before.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Sterling,
Yeah. I
you've played
mean,
in the state.
yeah, I don't wanna
Sterling, you've played in the state open,
yeah, let's I was gonna say I don't wanna compare my no, don't laugh, Madison. I mean, let's get into it because to me, it felt like I threw up on myself and I shot an
right?
83. I mean, I just feel like I couldn't even get the ball in the hole, but I still managed to shoot an 83. I don't know the conditions of the pre-qualifier for the qualifier. I can't imagine it was much
I
different from the state
well,
open, right? I mean, it's
but
Florida.
hold on. Let's go back to that a little bit. So you're talking about a state open, right? So it's really just kind of centralized around the state of Virginia, and you're not putting yourself on a stage where potentially that you would be playing in a PJ Tour event. You're not saying that your game is to that level that you'd go pre-qualify for a Monday qualifier to play in a PJ Tour event. And I think that's where the difference is in a situation like that. It's you shot an 83, you felt like you threw up on yourself, but you also weren't trying to qualify for the cognizant. Is that what it is?
The cognizant,
But he wasn't trying. I mean, he was trying to qualify for
right?
the qualifier.
Trying to, yeah.
You can't tell me he went into it expecting like he was gonna play on the PGA Tour next or this weekend.
I don't think and that's the thing. I don't think that he was really under the impression that he was going to make it. I think it was about the reps and hoping that he would put up a pretty good score and build some stock in himself.
Didn't his dad always say though, you have to win at every level? You've got to learn how to win and win at every level. And it's that experience of winning that you build on.
I mean, it sounds like something
Pretty
he'd
sh-
say. I don't know if he'd
pretty
say that.
sure he pretty sure he said that many times. And that was one of the keys to his success is that
Yeah,
he won at every level. He won in the Pee Wee tournaments, he won on the AJGA, he won the USGA Junior Boys, he won in college, he won the US Amateur, he kept winning and kept moving on from there. And that's what I wonder is why is Charlie not heeding that same advice and winning, even if the only thing he could win is maybe an FSGA junior tournament right now, but do that and start building on that instead of trying something like this because it almost feels like a publicity stunt.
And
It
maybe
really almost does, and I think the PGA Tour did him absolutely no favors in the way they covered him.
that's what I'm saying is the issue. I think if it would have been anyone else, any other high school kid that signed up for the pre-qualifier and went out there, no one would have no one would have batted an eye at it. It wouldn't have been anything. But because it was Charlie Woods, they brought the camera crews out. They got everything out there, live blogging, like you were saying. That's what I think made it so much worse than what it actually probably was.
I think there was another high school kid playing in it who was a decently ranked AJGA player.
Hopefully, it wasn't the guy
I
that finished
think.
behind him. Well, think that's enough.
So,
That's enough pylon for Charlie. He's had it for 2 weeks now, or however long it's been. All right. So moving on from Charlie Woods to Father Woods, Riv, this 2 weeks ago, definitely wasn't what we were expecting. Everyone was looking forward to Tiger being back. Unfortunately, caught a case of the flu and was carted off. The scene outside the clubhouse was, I mean, I didn't know what was going on. They had 3 ambulances out there. I didn't know what it was. Everyone was holding their breath, but good to know it was just the flu.
well, influenza, as Tiger had to call it.
Yes.
Back in 1920.
The scenes from outside the, like, players area at Riv, you would have thought, like, it was, what do they say when someone's, like, life is on the line in the hospital, like, they're
Oh
in
yeah,
critical
I
condition
mean
or
it
something?
looked like they were bringing the crash cart in. I mean, it was pretty intense. But
Yeah, it was.
you got to take every precaution when it's the franchise.
That is very true, very true. Have you guys seen the picture of the In-N-Out guy? Like, this tiger's taking a bite of that burger, he's got a little smile on
Yeah.
his face.
Oh
Oh,
jeez.
man. But, yeah, I mean, Tiger was playing alright. I think he was 2 over before he withdrew. Shot 1 over on Thursday and then came out Friday, birdied the first hole because everyone's birding the first hole at
Mhm.
Riviera, and then bogeyed, like, 2 out of his last 3 before withdrawing, and people were worried it was back issues because he said Thursday after his round that he was having back
Right.
spasms, and that's what led to the shank on 18. But, yeah, just the case of the flu. So they got him some IV, some fluids, whatever. I guess he's all right now. I feel like we haven't really heard from him since. Did he shake hand? He didn't shake hands on 18, right? He was out of there, gone. Okay. Yeah. Congratulations to Hideki Matsuyama. Did you guys see? I think he shot 62 course record, tournament
Yep.
record, whatever. And then was it Amanda
Balionis.
Balionis? Didn't she get married recently? Isn't it something different now?
Hmm.
Mm. Oh, Renner.
What is it,
Amanda
Matt?
Renner.
I know you.
That's right. She's Amanda Renner now.
She is she and Jeremy together?
Is it that Renner? Don't know. That'd be
Oh, no,
interesting.
that's just a joke.
That'd be too.
That'd be I
Yeah.
That's a great couple, though. Oh, wait, no, Jeremy Renner's actually in the hospital
Again?
or something, right?
No,
Is he doing all right?
he's
I don't
out.
know.
That was a
I thought he was
that was
Is he
a
out.
back?
Yeah, that was
that
a
was a
while
while
ago.
ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, I was just again, I haven't heard from the guy since, so, like, man, let's get back on track here. Where were we?
No,
Leave
no,
this one in,
we're
though.
leaving this. We're just going.
Hideki Matsuyama said, "I left
He
some
did.
shots out there." A 62 at Riv, and it's, like, classic Hideki Matsuyama, one-handed follow through, and he's hitting the pin on par threes. That clip is an all-time one. But someone asked the question, not to him, but just like in general, like when Hideki Matsuyama misses the cut, what's going through his head? He won a tournament, and he was still disappointed in how he played. It's like when he misses a cut, what do you think Hideki's thinking?
It's got to be. It's got to be just ugly, ugly, awful thoughts. Because yeah, I don't think I don't think I've seen anybody hit the ball as well coming down the stretch as he did and look so disgusted with himself.
Yeah.
I mean, he must have felt like he should have been holing everything.
But that's what we
Yeah.
expect from him all the time, though, because that's what we see week in and week out when he's there. Like when he's playing well,
Mhm.
you wouldn't know that he's playing well. I mean, the scores show it, but if you're watching
Right.
coverage, you would have no idea. So yeah, I assume if he's missing the cut, it's straight up doom and gloom for him. That's the only thing I can figure. If
Gotta be.
a 62 isn't good enough to win the tournament, 62 course record, and you're not happy with that, hmm,
Well, and maybe that's why he's flying Spirit to punish himself for not winning every time he goes out. Like he doesn't deserve to fly private.
Do you all think there's a harder working man on tour? Have you all seen his practice routine?
Not
I
personally, no, but I can imagine.
So the PGA Tour did a really nice job pre-COVID of documenting the top players pre-round warm-up. There's Rory, there's Jordan, JT. Like, if you have time, go look
Mhm.
at it on YouTube. Very structured, very meticulous, putting over and over and over and over and over again. Are we surprised that he doesn't win more often? Because I believe this is his first win since the Sony in 21.
mm,
He won a Zoso, but
Anyways,
was it the fall before that Sony or was it after? I can't remember. Yeah,
that's a great question.
but it's been a while.
But
It
my point,
regardless, it's
yeah,
been a while.
it's been a while. Yep.
I think the putter had been holding him back, and honestly, that looked a lot better too. And I don't know if you noticed it, and they called it out on the broadcast. He did not have the toe up in the air like he usually does. He had that putter pretty much sold flat on the ground and looked, not that he had a whole lot of putts that he needed to make that were longer than kick ins, but stroke looked good. The contact looked good. The roll he was putting on it looked good. Could you imagine if he could putt on the regular?
well,
I mean,
that's kind of this.
forget about Scotty. Yeah,
Well,
forget about
that's what I'm
Scotty.
saying.
Yeah, Scheffler.
Scotty Adam Scott?
Scheffler.
Oh, Scotty
Scheffler.
Shelvers. I'm so sorry. I watched a video yesterday with Iona Stevens. Did you guys see
No,
that
I'll need
video?
to watch it though.
Shout shout out to Iona Stevens. She makes some of the, I don't know if it's her, but whoever her team is or her, really good content coming out of their camp. They did like a 4-hole just like walk and talk, and Adam Scott was talking about like his swing is so pure, his ball striking is so good that really you look at his swing and his ball striking, the putting is average, and the same thing with Scotty Scheffler. Like their ball striking is so good, it's really hard to compare that to his putting or his putting to his ball striking. That's how I feel like about Hideki Matsuyama. A lot of these really good ball strikers, like their putting is okay, but it feels like it's you know really bad. I was going to say something else there, but
Keep it clean. Keep it clean.
I'm trying.
That's all right.
I'm trying. Yep,
We'll fix it in
we're good.
post if not. Yeah, I think that
No, no, it's fine.
that argument doesn't, to me, doesn't hold as much water as it used to because you can look at strokes gained putting and see whether or not they're making some of the putts that they should be. Even those 50-50 8-footers, if they're only making a quarter of them instead of making half of them like PGA Tour average, that's where they're giving shots away. But yeah, I mean Hideki looked pretty rock solid with the blade, and it was crazy. I don't know how much of it you watched coming down the stretch, but it went from any of 4 or 5 people could win to nobody's got a chance. Hideki's got this on lock in a span of like maybe 30 minutes. I had a lot of hope for Willie Z. He looked like he was making a little bit of a run and then, just couldn't keep up.
Yeah, and he got
Ran out of
pretty
birdies.
emotional
Yeah,
after his round too. That final round for him because he definitely thought it was going to be a different story for him, and talk about a comeback for sure, pun intended, from back issues. But someone who's also struggled with the putter quite, I don't know, in the spotlight for sure. I mean, I know Sterling's talked about it. We've got a couple clips of it. Everyone seems to have a take on it, and finally things are starting to click for him. So I'm sure he would have loved to get it done and really kind of solidify that true, you know, come back to the where we saw him a couple years ago, but unfortunately, I didn't get it done. But I think it will happen this year for him.
Sterling says no.
yeah. No, I disagree.
Guess we'll have to see.
I don't know.
I think he can play. I think he can play at a reasonably high level again. I don't think the putting. I don't think the putting is there to the point that he's gonna win in bunches.
Mm-mm.
But I think the ball striking is there that he's gonna keep showing up on difficult golf courses where you've got to hit golf shots. Like Rip, he can pop up again at the US Open, at the Masters, something like that. I think his ball striking is going to get him into contention. Is his putting going to get him over the hump? I mean, I could see him being like a one win a year guy for a while, or a one win every other year guy, but having these ridiculous high major finishes because he just strikes the what out of the ball, and he's always going to be in contention because of it. The broomstick looks better, but he still looks like he hits a lot of putts off the toe. But no more
That was
figure eight.
well, the toe was the usual suspect for him and his old figure
Yeah.
eight move, so it's hard to break that. Oh,
The usual suspect. I think for Willie Z, if he wants to have, a 10 win plus career, he has to win this year. I think if he doesn't get it done this year, there's that mental block of, you know, am I good enough? I know he has a win. I think he won the FedEx last year, St. Jude, or not last year,
Mhm.
maybe 2 years ago. But for him, I think it's again all mental. He's got that
I mean, is
block.
he Charles Howell the fourth potentially?
Did Charles Howell have PGA Tour
He's got a
wins?
couple. He won in Williamsburg a long, long time ago when it was a PGA Tour event. Yeah.
Very nice.
Shout out Kingsville. Also,
Shout out the Berg.
so
Like I said, though, yeah,
other notables there, Cantlay. That was, I mean, he just kind of laid an egg. Yeah.
yeah. He was looking like Ryder Cup
Mhm.
Cantlay
Led by
there.
5 through
Crazy.
2 rounds and then finished 4 back. That was tough. Xander had a chance, did nothing with it. You want to talk?
You want to talk Jordan Spieth signing an incorrect scorecard because he had to go take a bathroom break?
That's the toughest of all scenes there. Man, I don't know. Why can't they consider the whole golf course the scoring area? He didn't leave the property. I get the rule. I totally get the rule. I'm not going to say that they should get rid of the rule, but you know, why couldn't they have waited until he was out of the facilities and said, "Hey, you really want to take another look at your card here, buddy?"
Yeah, that rule's an interesting one. This is one that I have broken before in my golf career. I signed for a higher score than where Spieth signed for a lower
Oh, so you
score.
just
So I didn't get disqualified. I took the higher score. Shout out to Thaxton at Monacan. I don't know. I don't know what to do about this one. I've gone back and forth because it's you want to play everyone by the same set of rules, right? So like with let's go back to Charlie real quick. Like he went out, there's no cameras. Well, there were cameras on him, but not everyone's shot is filmed and recorded in that pre-qualifier like it is on a Thursday, Friday of a
right.
PGA Tour event. It's like you want to play by the same set of rules. That's why you can't just say like, oh, like everyone knows what he got, right? Like they're showing his scorecard on TV after every hole, like. But you want to keep the game the same for everyone at pretty much every level. So I really don't know where I stand on this one because like I feel bad for Jordan. It feels like he's kind of always in these situations. You remember at Albany when him and Henrik Stenson played the
Mhm.
wrong tee box
Yeah.
because they switched it up, whatever. And I don't know. He's always in these interesting
Yeah,
situations.
he does seem to attract it. I'm with you. I think you do want to. I think you do want to have everybody playing by the same set of rules. So whether it's a pre-qualifier or a U.S. Open sectional or the State Open or whatever, you can't. You're not going to have shot. I mean, heck, you don't have shot link at every round in every PGA Tour event either. Some of these multi-course tournaments, you don't have shot link on every course, so you can't You can't fall back on really anything in every circumstance. I just think disqualification is tough. A two-stroke penalty would get the point across. And again, I also think if you're okay as long as you're in the scoring area, why can't you be okay as long as you're on the property?
Because they don't want to run you down.
If you're
Define the property. Are we talking the boundaries of the
Yeah,
golf course?
if you're Genesis and you paid umpteen $1 million to sponsor this tournament, and Jordan Spieth is one of maybe 4 or 5 players on the PGA Tour who makes ratings go up when he's in contention on a Sunday, I'll send 100 people out to get him. If it's going to get me another 500,000 viewers on Sunday, I don't care. I've already spent, 20, $30 million putting this thing on. What do I care if I send a bunch of admin assistants out to go find the guy?
That's a good point.
I want my name.
Yeah.
I want my names on the leaderboard on a Sunday. If he had made the cut and played well on Saturday and had been in contention, how different would the tournament have felt? We'll never know. We'll never know.
But then you have to do that for everyone. You can't just do it for Jordan.
Nah. That you can just do for one of the superstars. And if it's Grayson Murray, you can let him leave.
Oh,
You heard it here first,
wow.
folks. Not all players are created equal,
Hey.
according to Mike.
Not all players are created equal,
Yeah.
according to the PGA Tour and the signature events. So,
That's true.
What do you
What's
mean?
that?
Whoa, what do you mean?
What do I mean?
You have to qualify for those.
You're getting in based on what you did the prior year.
Well, what about Knapp-Time? He just won in Mexico.
And now
he's in
everything.
city.
Right. But I mean, Jordan's getting in on prior year. And if he didn't have that, he'd be getting in on OWGR, which is almost impossible to fall out of. I mean, the Delaware guys set it up so that
Now, you know what?
they set it up so that they weren't going to fall out very easily. Come on.
That's true. You know what's not fair is some of the exemptions. Like, who was it? Someone got invited to Pebble who was super far down in the world golf rankings, didn't play great the previous year, but they're on like the player advisory board. I think it was like Adam Scott and Malnati, Peter
Adam Scott,
Malnati.
Peter Malnati,
Maverick, didn't he?
Mav
There's one more.
McNeely. He's
Mhm.
he's not on the board, but he's on the pack, and I think is he sponsored by AT&T? It looked like there were some shenanigans with exemptions at Pebble. Definitely.
He may have been.
That's a tough look. Another thing from Riv. This was the first elevated, designated signature, whatever event that had a cut.
That's right.
Did you all?
Huge cut, massive. How many people missed? 10?
20? I don't know. I know there were 70 people playing, and they took top 50, right?
50
or players with
50 ties and 10 strokes, and I think only about 10 people missed, wasn't it?
Let me check. Let's see. The Genesis, Hideki Matsuyama, $4 million, 17 under. No, there's at least 20 names here. They took the top 51 players.
51.
Notables that missed the cut. This is interesting. Let me know if they're not notable, okay? Because some of these players I didn't think they'd be in this event. JJ Spawn.
Surprised he was in it.
Matt Kuchar.
Played his way in over the fall, maybe?
Question mark? Patrick Rogers.
Also maybe got in through the fall.
Shout out to Nick Dunlap for
not finishing last.
Low on the leaderboard. Matthew Fitzpatrick missed the cut. Chris Kirk, who won an event earlier this year. Grayson Murray, we talked about him. Tiger Woods withdrew. Jordan Spieth,
Wyndham
DQ.
Clark missed the cut.
Yeah, there's at least 20
No,
names.
you're
we're
right.
looking at
You're
here.
right. It was only 51 that made it. I don't know why I thought it was like 59 or 60. JT misses the cut. Did we already say that? I
Did I
don't
say
know.
JT? I don't know.
But JT misses the cut.
Yeah, let's throw it back to Madison Hill saying this is the week that JT gets it done. He's gonna put them
Whoa,
all
whoa, whoa!
together.
I didn't take JT at Riv.
I took
Mikey
JT
Vino.
at risk.
This is
Yeah.
But thank you for
Quote,
throwing
Mikey
thank you
Vino.
for throwing Madison under the bus instead of me. No,
Yeah.
I've got to eat that. That's why I
Quote.
was calling JT out. I've got to eat crow on that one. That was pretty bad.
Mikey Vino, quote, this is the week he cleans up those few loose shots and gets the
Yes.
job done.
He
at
cleaned up
Riv.
no loose.
End
Yes, he
quote.
cleaned up no loose shots. He got no jobs done.
Where did Victor Hovland finish there, Madison?
Top 20.
You can't say that's. You can't say top 20, and it's not the same. It's just not the same at these types of events.
19.
I can't find. Oh,
He's
there he is. T19.
Yeah.
That's in the top 20. How is it not in the top 20?
No, it is $251,000. I have no idea who I took that week.
I don't remember
No
who you
clue.
took either.
I'm not sure.
All right, well, let's get into Mexico while I look it up here.
Yeah. Speaking of,
Actually, before we get to Mexico, Madison, let's leave that in too, Mike. Before we get to Mexico, Madison, give us a quick shout out for our YouTube page.
a quick shout out.
Quick shout out. Just a quick one.
Shout out.
Quick
Quick shout out.
just real
Make
quick.
sure you are tuned in to 2-in-1 Golf on YouTube.
No. That's a promo. That's a promo. I need a quick shout out.
That's the same thing. Shout out. Check
No,
us
it
out
is not.
on YouTube. 2-in-1 Golf.
That's
New videos every Saturday.
Nah, shout out to our YouTube channel. Over the last few weeks, we did reach over 100 subscribers. We are currently sitting at 138. So shout out to Mike Madison and myself. We've been consistent. We've been posting every Saturday at 10 a.m. And our last few videos are doing really well, besides the Ball of Steel. That one kind of fell off. Biathlon is at 100 views, which is pretty decent. Can Golf Tees help your golf game? 336
Blowing up.
views, which is
Blowing
surprising.
up.
And I want to pat myself on the back here for the cut blue golf ball review. I think this one is pulling in views for the thumbnail. Madison and I are standing there, the golf ball's there, and in big red letters, I have scam. Question mark. Not saying it was a scam. It's like, is this a scam?
Clickbait.
Yes, that's a good clickbaity one. But the biggest video on our channel currently is the What's in the Bag 2024 at 1.2K views, which it's been out for a month and a couple of weeks. That one is absolutely surprising to me. But yeah, we have a video that has over 1,000 views on YouTube.
That's right.
Not TikTok, not Instagram, YouTube, which is mind-blowing. But yeah, thank you all for subscribing if you're subscribed, and thank you all for watching our videos, like, commenting, subscribing, sharing, all that good stuff. That's a shout out.
Now we know.
Also, maybe a promotion.
Now we know. It is whatever Sterling says it is.
Started as a shout out, then went into a promo, then went into a full on monologue. But yeah, it's all the above.
Hey, the fans love it. The fans love it. The fans. I don't know if the fans love Mexico though. Were there fans? There weren't many fans.
There weren't many
The
fans.
vibe
There
was dead.
weren't many people watching. It was, it was getting torn apart online through social media. Everyone talking about how unknown the leaderboard was on Sunday when you have. Help me with his first name. Is it Michael Villamaki?
Sammy Valabaki.
Okay, well, there we go. There's strike one. And Jake Knapp basically battling it out on Sunday. So If it brought us nothing else, it was the Jake Knapp story, which unfortunately I think was spoon-fed the entire weekend because there wasn't really anything else going on. A great story overall, but yeah, I would say Mexico just kind of, you know, it was on. I think that's pretty much all you can say about it.
It was there.
This is this is one of those events where if you watched on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, you're a true golf fan. And I can no longer say I'm a true golf fan. Mike
Hand
has his
up.
hand raised, as you all can see, because we're recording this
Yes.
on YouTube. Shout out to you all for watching on YouTube. I'm not a true golf fan. Like this doesn't this. I saw his swing. They were talking about it on Friday, Saturday, and he had a 4 or 5 shot lead heading into the
Mhm.
final round. I saw it all on Instagram, but I never turned the
Yeah, four
TV
shot
on.
lead going into the final round. You didn't miss much. I watched it on DVR. I fast forwarded through everybody other than Knapp and Valimaki and watched the NBC coverage in probably a little over an hour, but I did watch it. Knapp's story, it's definitely a good story. It almost seems like the tour needs to have these kinds of events in order to get some starts for guys who are graduating off Corn Ferry because they're not getting into anything else. They weren't getting into Sony. They're not going to get into waste management. They've got to get him out on the golf course at some point. I kind of liked watching him play. I think his game is kind of cool. I know he was a little scratchy on Sunday. Didn't hit a whole lot of fairways. I think he only hit two
Two
fairways,
fairways.
but he was missing. He
Hit
was
two
missing
fairways.
everything in the right. Yeah, but you know what? I never saw him really out of position. I never saw him really blocked out. Yeah,
Sorry to
interrupt,
interrupt.
please.
Smiley Kaufman did a podcast with
Mhm.
Knapp. I'm not sure what his
Jake.
first name is, Jake Knapp. And Jake said, like, they were going through his schedule. This is before Mexico. They were going through the schedule, and he's like, "Where are you going to play? Upcoming." He's like, "Well, I'm going to go to Mexico," and he lists off some other events. Obviously, now he's in a bunch of the bigger ones, but he said like he looks at players that have the same stats as him, and he looks and sees like where have they performed well, where have they
Mhm.
won, and he compared himself to Tony Finau, someone who hits the ball pretty far but not that accurate, and kind of builds his schedule off of that. And it just so happened to really work out for
Yeah,
him this week.
I think that's genius, and I also wonder if there are guys out there who needed to pick up FedEx Cup points. Why were they not there? This was the week to do it. That could have been you out there instead of Jake Knapp. So, kudos to Knapp for doing that. He hit a lot of cool shots too. I thought, he was moving the ball both ways and getting a lot of things done with not a lot of ball striking prowess coming down the stretch. So, I mean, kind of impressive to see him, kind of steer the ship home with probably like his C game going out there. And then the mullet. I mean, come on. We've got it. We don't have Cam Smith anymore. We've got to have a good mullet on tour. And now we've got a mullet again. Mini mullet, but a mullet.
No, for sure, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely mullet.
And then also, this is the guy who actually has a girlfriend from Canada.
Yep.
Literally,
That-
he
Oh,
actually has a girlfriend from Canada who you've never met.
Sterling doesn't get that joke.
Sterling doesn't get that, Jake.
No. That was a
No
like
idea.
no, this is
Is this a
like a
man
back in the
type
day,
thing,
like
or
old joke back in the day where,
Mhm.
you'd tell people that you had a girlfriend, but she lived somewhere else. So that's why no one ever saw her, no one ever like met her. So that was the joke. Like,
Right.
oh, I have a girlfriend. She lives in Canada. But he actually does have a girlfriend from
She
Canada.
lives in Canada.
Yeah.
man, y'all's generation is wild.
Sterling, our
Yeah, I
generation
get this
raised
girl,
itself, okay?
back in Canada. So what would you just like would you would say that? Was that a joke, or is that thing, like, people would
No,
actually
it was what people would
It
say.
was a joke on sitcoms and things like that. Yeah, but it was like a sitcom running gag in a lot of cases where the nerdy guy would talk about, "No, I have a girlfriend. She's in Canada. You've never met her." Madison, thank you for getting the
I
reference.
got it. Don't you worry about it.
We're gonna have some like we're gonna have some cultural literacy homework for Sterling. There's some movies, there's some sitcoms he's gonna need to watch. He's gonna pick up on our old guy references.
Yeah. Well, anything else from Mexico? I mean, I think the storyline was Jake Knapp, and I think everyone's. I don't think we could tell you anything about him that you haven't heard 8 times already from NBC. And some other big news coming up this week. Well, last night, this is Tuesday. Last night we had the match, which of course we're going to get into, and then of course this week, Live Golf in Jeddah. Am I saying that right?
In Jeddah, in King Abdullah Economic City. Don't do them dirty like
Perfect.
that.
So I got it right. The return of Anthony Kim. So I know we kind of wanted to watch the match last night, kind of give some thoughts on how that went. I know we were kind of texting back and forth about it. This iteration was Rory McIlroy, Max Homa, Lexi Thompson, and Rose Zhang playing a skins match. I think Max carried it personality wise and really kind of doing the heavy lifting. I know DJ Khaled wanted to because he tried to get to a microphone as often as possible, but I definitely didn't feel any energy out of Rory. So I know I put it in the chat last night. Like, did Rory need to be there? Could we have gotten somebody else?
Somebody needed to win the
Well,
thing,
were you so
true.
and he was the only one who seemed to want to do that.
Did Roy really stand out in the Tiger versus JT match?
No, it was. I think.
Remember the one they played at Tiger's place in Paynes Valley?
I don't.
I don't I don't recall that he did. I don't know that Rory is that.
The only thing I remember from that one was Papa
Yeah.
John's or
Oh yeah.
Domino's. I think it was Domino's.
Rory doesn't feel to me like your banter, trash talking kind of guy. Which, if that's what you're looking for in this, I don't think he's it. He hit some good shots and entertained the crowd with that. But yeah, I felt like Max was really doing a lot of the work. Like Max and Chuck, I think really kind of carried the night
Yeah.
as far as that went. And I'd kind of like to see the two of them play like a two-man team against, you pick two others, and that could be a
So
riot.
Let's do that. So I didn't watch the match. Congratulations to Rory. But I think like that's what we take maybe a should this exist and
Yeah.
we do if you had to recast or if you had to create the perfect match. Like what are the four players that you bring in?
All right. So I think Max and Chuck, and then Harry Higgs and God.
Joel Damon. I so here's my take on it real quick. No, I'm saying if
You
we
gotta have
went through 4 professionals again, I think when you look at something.
Oh, four
Yeah,
professionals.
and
Okay.
we can mix it up, men's, women, however you wanna do it, but I think if you look at something to compare it to, if you look at it compared to, like, the Shorties event, which was the Tito's sponsored, Harry Higgs, Joel Damon, Keith Mitchell, and Bob Does Sports. Like, the crowd was there, it was just a short par 3 course, they played 9 holes a couple different times, and they were all getting into it, they were all, like, characters, like, that's what I think you need in an event like this, and, of course, I'm sure that with Capital One sponsoring and everything, you can't push the boundaries too much, but I definitely think you need some people that will interact on the mic a little bit more, and I think that's what we saw from Max, and, surprisingly enough, even a little bit from Lexi, which I didn't think we'd see, but I just don't think we got anything out of Rory. I mean, it was a lot of dead air. I mean, it almost felt like he was going about like a normal tour event. Like he was just going through his processes and everything. It just didn't feel like we got anything else out of it.
Yeah, I think Rory's the type of guy who I want to see him in a long form interview for half an hour because I think he's going to be fascinating in that kind of situation. But in 30-second snippets with one-liners and that kind of thing, I don't think that's him. But give me a Joel Damon, give me a Harry Higgs. Again, Max I thought did great. He was funny. He was self-deprecating. Lexi was good. She looked really relaxed, which I was surprised at. Looked like she was having fun. Shout out those 2011 irons she's playing too. I thought that was. I don't know if anyone else caught that, but I saw those things in the bag and I was like, wait a minute, those things are ancient. Those things are like over a decade old. That's awesome to see. And Rose was Rose. She was very nice and very polite and exactly what you would expect from Rose Zhang and complimenting everyone's shots but I think if you want it to be more of an entertainment type event, then you need a different personality. You don't necessarily need one of the top two or three players on tour necessarily.
Yeah. I think that's where you almost
All
I
right.
was
So
gonna
if you
say, I
had to
think
pick,
if you have to look at it, right, like you said, Mike, maybe not the best players, but who the biggest personalities are. Like who are the ones that people are talking about the most?
Right.
Probably the ones that are doing most of the interacting with YouTubers. If I'm being honest, those seem to have, pretty good interactions. They get a lot of views. I just I don't know. It needs to change a little bit. Like if I'm gonna tune in and watch for 3 hours or whatever it was, like I need to be entertained. And I think it's lost a little bit of the entertainment value.
Yeah. I mean, if you're thinking about good candidates or people who are active on social media, like I'd almost like to see a Michael Kim in the mix because he's constantly coming up with great stuff. I think that could be pretty interesting. And he's pretty self-deprecating too. He's not afraid to make fun of himself. You know, and again, Kashmir Keith, I think he would be good. He was great. He was great in the shorties thing. Shout out Butler Pitch and Putt on that too. That's such a cool place. If you're ever in Austin, Texas, go. Definitely, definitely, definitely go. In fact, hang on a second.
Literally go. He came back with the hat on.
Yeah, I had the pleasure a couple years back.
There you go.
Lots of fun. Highly recommend.
So Sterling, what would you change about, or who would your picks be in that situation?
Who would you have?
yeah, give me Chuck and Ernie commentating. Obviously, can't miss. Give me Jordan Speed. Give me JT because him and Chuck love to go back and
Mhm.
forth with the
Auburn,
Auburn
Alabama.
University in Alabama, whatever. Give me Max Homa.
Mhm.
And then this one's interesting because I think just having this player mic'd up could be really interesting. Billy Horschel. I'll throw a Gator in there. If not Billy Horschel, give me
Ooh, I
Tom
wouldn't mind
Kim.
Tom Kim.
Tom Kim would be Tom Kim would be pretty decent, but I think Horschel could be electric, depending upon how he's playing. If he's either playing great or if he's playing awful, either way, it could be just that could be must see TV right there. I could be so in
Yeah.
on that.
Can we also do like a all-time worst four? What would be a really bad four?
Current
I got
players or
give
all
me
time?
PJ Tour current top 100 in the world. Give me a Patrick
Mm-hmm.
Cantlay, Mats Fitzpatrick. Hmm. Give me a Cameron Young,
Give
and
me a Scotty
then
Scheffler.
we'll
Oh,
finish you off with a Scotty,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe a
Vanilla.
Harry English,
Yeah, that would be
you know?
that would be a pretty rough. That'd
Yeah,
be a pretty rough go of it for sure. Yeah,
be a tough watch.
Yeah,
Great
golf could be
golf.
great, but the talking, the between shots, not so much. I think that one you record, you edit down to a nice tight 30 minutes, tight 30 minutes, and you've got Chuck and Ernie handling all of the duties otherwise. You don't even put mics on the guys.
that's probably a good call.
Yeah. It's nice to see Trevor have a little fun last night too, I thought.
Yeah, he's doing
Let
a
him
good
let his
job
hair
of
down.
yeah. He's been a nice addition to the
Oh, he's
broadcast for sure.
fantastic. He's leaps and bounds beyond where Faldo was. It's just you can't. I don't even think you can compare. I think Faldo was just phoning it in for like the last 4 or 5 years, just doing that to pay alimony.
Yikes. Let's get off that topic real quick. So from one match to another match, speaking of coverage and everything, Live Golf, Anthony Kim teeing it up after 12 years. Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was
11 or 12 ish. Yeah.
20
2012, I think, was the last
okay.
sighting.
2012.
And even then, it was kind of he wasn't really playing the tour. I think he tried to play a couple tournaments and then just packed it in.
So teeing it up in Jeddah this week, which I thought was a little strange. Definitely a big get for Live. And I think a lot of people that I've seen a lot of people go back and forth about this. There's some people that think that while he's been this recluse, he still has, an A+ game and he's going to come out and he's going to shoot lights out. And then you have the other people that are like, just remember that he's 38 now, potentially hasn't played golf in a while, and definitely not competitive golf. And now he's being put onto this big stage. So my question is, and I guess a little bit of the confusion, if Liv is doing this to get views, which they will, I mean, I think people just want to see him at this point. Because if you look, there's really, I mean, he really has been a recluse. There's very few sightings of him over the last 12 years. Like, no one knows where he's been. So if you're doing this for views, why do it in Jeddah? Because when they're teeing off, it'll be 3 o'clock in the morning here. So you talk about the US viewers, the ones who actually kind of care and know about who Anthony Kim are, you're not getting any of that. Well, I mean, we can watch the replays and everything, but if you're talking about TV viewership, you want to hit the numbers, get the ratings up. Why not bring him back stateside?
Honestly, I think this is a hedge on the part of Liv that if this goes poorly, it's happening in the middle of the night. Nobody really cares about this tournament anyway. They can practically pretend like it never happened and just, it can be a one and done thing and that's it. But if he does well, then it's not going to attract eyeballs to the broadcast, but it's going to attract interest to the socials. People will pay attention to it. They'll watch highlights, and it's something they can hype for. Where do they play after Jeddah? It's someplace a little bit more favorable to the US TV audience.
They go to Hong Kong next.
Okay, so
yeah,
maybe not. But they can start.
They're back stateside in April.
Okay, but they could start building a narrative out of it. But this way, they're not putting him in one of their marquee US events and having him completely lay an egg. So I think it's kind of a hedge.
Wild card.
Anyone know what team he's playing on?
He's playing as a wild card.
Yeah. So I think that kind of tells you everything you
there's
need to know.
two
Like,
wild
it's
cards,
just a
though.
trial.
Yeah.
Like you said, Mike, you hit the
right. There's a couple wild cards. What I want to know is did they give him the $10 million that he's foregoing with the insurance? You have to think they did.
I'd say and then some. I think they had to really kind of double down on it. To me it doesn't make sense. to do it unless they gave you a lot of money because he's been fine for as long as he's been gone. I mean, I think he racked up 12 million of tour earnings while he was out there plus whatever he got from the insurance company. So to throw any of that away, they would have to, I think, you know, bring you a bag or something like that. I mean, like you can't just be like, "Oh yeah, you'll cover the rest of this insurance money. Sure, I'll come play." It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's some upside to the prize money he can win. But you're right. I don't know if I'm getting off the couch if they just cover what I'm losing from the insurance. You gotta sweeten the pot a little bit more than that. You know. And a little more than just a last place finish, whatever that pays out in the live tournament, which I think is like it's in like a it's in the six figures, I think. It's not nothing. So
Time
should
will
be
tell.
interesting. Should be interesting. Honestly, though, I think the legend of his game is so much better than, frankly, it's better than what it actually was. You know, these things always get better with time. And I just can't imagine that he's going to be able to live up to what his past legend was.
Yeah,
But we'll
they
see.
shared a clip of him
Yeah.
warming up, and I mean the swing looks good. It looks pretty similar. I saw them do a side by side comparison. Still has that really short backswing, pretty compact, but
Mhm.
I mean, you can hit balls on the range. I mean, Sterling knows. I do it a million times. I can hit balls on the range really, really good. But as soon as you stick that tee in the ground on the first tee, could be a completely different ball game out there. So
That and 45 of the other 51 players in the field are going to be blowing it by him, which I don't know if he's used to that
do you know
because he used to be long, but
was he
he's not long. He's not.
was he allowed to play any golf while with this insurance, or was he just not allowed to play professional golf?
Gotta imagine he couldn't play
Uh,
professional golf. He can
my
play golf.
understanding is that he just could not play golf professionally anymore.
Okay.
No way his swing looks that good. Just now picking up a
But and
club.
that's I guess that's the question I have.
And no way you're subjecting
Like,
yourself.
where's he been playing? How has no one taken a photo of him? I know there was something that circulated a couple years ago when the thought or the story of him potentially coming back to either PGA or Live was born, but like how's there nothing? Like there's just nothing of him.
I mean, I'd heard rumors throughout that he would play money games with his buddies and that kind of stuff in Vegas, high end exclusive clubs where he could keep things on the down low. Grew his hair out, had a beard, nobody recognized him. He's the Yeti, man. He's the Yeti.
Witness protection.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know why you were on that, but hey, it's his call.
All right. Well, I think that wraps things up for episode 58. We appreciate you all tuning in if you're still listening now at the 1 hour and 4 minute mark. As always, please make sure to check us out on all the socials: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Check us out on the website. Do we have anything on the website since anything recent? Anything recently? I mean, we might need to get back on the.
Yeah, we need to write some stuff. We've been so focused on the video content, hasn't been a whole lot of written word
That's true.
lately, but we'll get some stuff out there.
That is true. Bit of a scare from Madison Hill last week. He had some back issues. I'm not sure if you want to touch on that, Madison, while we
Yeah,
are
just
wrapping things up here.
I don't know. I had a birthday and the back decided to have its own birthday as well and just take a week off. So trying to recover from that. I've got some stuff set up in the next couple weeks to see if there's anything really going on back there, but yeah, just trying to take it easy right now.
So what's the deal with the Outer Banks trip?
What do you mean? It's for sure still on.
Is it still on?
We
It's
paid for it. It's
it's
still
definitely still on.
on.
That's why we're not touching a club until then.
Okay.
I'll have
I'll
plenty of
pray for you.
Advil, so
I'll also pray for the fitter.
that's probably who you need to send some prayers to. If you want to send any notes, I'll give him a little piece of paper. Like, this is from Sterling.
Yeah, tell him your golf coach needs to get you in a stiff shaft, 10 degrees. And we need to get you at a cruising speed of 95 mile an hour so you can continue to play the game. F1.
Can't wait.
F1 starts this weekend. Any
Well, according
predictions?
to who was it? Alonso said after seeing the Red Bull car this year, he said a lot of us have even fewer chances of winning. So I'd say Red Bull's probably the favorite again. I think Ferrari's been looking pretty good. Saw a lot of Charles. Saw him testing a lot. His lap times look pretty good, very consistent to Max as well. So I think the Ferrari will have a good year too, as long as they don't, you know, get in their own way like they did all of last year. So I think those would be the two to watch. Mercedes, not really sure. Maybe have kind of that last dance year with Lewis Hamilton before he puts on the red jumpsuit. But I think it's going to be Red Bull again.
Yeah, I just hopefully someone else wins the race this year. I don't know if I could take another
I think
19 wins
I
from
think it'll
Max
be closer
Verstappen.
this year. I definitely think there'll be races that are closer this year. But Max said this car is set up better for him than the one last year, which is scary to think of. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. A lot of the Dutch
We're
national
doomed.
anthem on Saturdays, so get used to it. Sunday
Saturdays?
mornings. Sorry.
Did you
I'm
watch
starting it
Drive to Survive?
tomorrow. Have not started it yet. New season of that, Mike. If you haven't checked it out, same people from Full Swing. It's actually where they started their journey.
Mhm.
Make sure you check out Drive to Survive.
Shout out Netflix. Yeah, great job. Very very high quality production. Like I I literally watched the first episode and then went onto MBP. What is it?
MPB.
MPB. M the camera, use camera. Man, I was looking at lenses. Like stuff gets me
Thanks.
going. It's crazy. All right, thank you all for tuning in. We just wasted another 4 minutes of your life, but we appreciate you, and we will hopefully see you all Saturday at 10 o'clock for the NLU
The NOU
01.
01.
Also, got a new YouTube video coming out. We'll see you on Saturday. If not Saturday, we'll see you in the next episode. Take care and have a great day.